And I'm Jeremy.
And we are Hard to Master, and in this video, what are we taking a look at, Jeremy?
100 Tori by Pencil First Games.
Alright, so this is 100 Tori, which is a tile-laying spatial element kind of game in which you are making a beautiful garden, and you are going to be trying to collect different resources, but you want to time it in just the right way so that you get those resources in sets of 5. So that you can get these tiles over here, which are worth points.
Large landmarks.
Yeah. And so this has got a little bit of timing to it. You're also going to be playing off of what other people do. It's a little bit of action selection on your turn, set collection. There's a few things going on in this, which is a little bit of a heavier game than what is known from Pencil First Games. I don't know all of their games, but the ones that I have played, this is definitely the heaviest one of theirs that I've played. And so hence the reason why we are featuring it here on Hard to Master and not Love to Hate. So let's jump into this. Jeremy, give us a brief overview of what you're doing on your turn.
So on your turn, you're going to do several things in different phases. First, you're going to have the opportunity to get help from one of the characters. So I could use the vendor to discard 2 of the tiles that I'm going to have, because in your turn you're going to have 2 tiles in your hand. At the end of your turn you're going to draw up to 2 tiles. So if you use 1, you'll gain 2. If you use both by using another one of these characters in a second, then you would draw back up to 2. So the vendor lets you discard 1 tile to draw 2 others, and then place, after you get help from your character, you're going to place your tiles. So the second character is Samurai. They're going to allow you to place the Samurai figure on the board, and basically no one can place a tile there until someone else moves the Samurai. Third person is the Poet. They're going to place this blue figure on the board, covering one of these landmark icons, which give you resources. That way it blocks the path so that it can get you possibly more resources.
A longer path,
yeah.
Probably.
And you have the Geisha, which will allow you to play both your tiles on your turn, but you will only score the second tile. And the third one is the Gardener, which will basically let you place on top
of a tile.
So you can basically alter how the garden is. This right here shows you what the cost is. So for the first 2, it's only 1. And then for the remaining 3, it's going to be 3 resources. Or you start the beginning of the game with 2 coins apiece. That is only used to help you get help at the beginning. But you can, in any combination, use your smaller landmarks or resources and coin tokens to get help. As you get help, you're going to get these tiles, and these tiles will have a 2 on them to start. You can only ever use this or get up to a max of 4 by using this, but the first person to complete or to gain help from that character a 3rd time will get the 3-point token to go with that.
Right.
So
in addition,
so it's also a race to get those as well in the game. But after you gain help, if you choose, then you're going to progress the garden by placing a tile, and it's a lot like a Carcassonne type of continuation. You're going to continue the path, and then you're going to follow the path to the shortest route to the next resource. So if I were to place this tile here, it's going to go right here, whereas if I place it somewhere over here, it's going to have a little bit more of a path to go.
Yeah.
As you cross through the red
gate,
it's going to provide you with the same resource. If I were to go through a blue gate, it would provide me with any other resource. So if I went through multiple blue gates, I could get multiple of a different type, or I could get differentiated goods or landmarks. After I place a tile, then I'm going to score, which is where I would collect those items, and I would get these tokens and flip them over. So if I had a 2, obviously it's going to flip to a 4. After the 3rd time, I could continue to use that character's ability. It's just once I either flip to a 4, or if I was the first person to gain that 3-point bonus, then that would be it.
You won't get anything else.
The only other one is for enclosures. If you ever enclose an area, and it has to have, in the garden, and it has to have 2 resources that can match or not match, like this one, that's going to be an enclosure. You can take the enclosure token Second time you'll flip it over, and there is a third enclosure token that you can gain by doing it a third time. After that, once you've done 3, you can continue to do it, but you're not going to get that bonus per se from it. So that's, and then, like I said, you would draw up to 2 tiles, and that's how your turn's going to go. You're going to go until both of the tile drawing stacks are empty. Then whoever drew the last tile would, both players or however many players would, everybody would get 1 more turn. And then you would score. So you're not going to score leftover individuals. You're going to score all your large landmarks.
Yeah.
And once you get 5, one thing is I can't spend those resources if they're a 5. So if I've already upgraded them, I'm not going to be able to spend that resource. I would have to use only the individuals that I have. Once I get 5 additional, say I got 5 more bridges, well, that's going to upgrade to a 10 bridge. Once I get 10, I can no longer gain any more bridges or llamas or whatever the landmark or resource that you're gaining. You can't gain any more above that 10 level. But you also can't break them down from a 5 to be spent.
Right. Once they become these 5-piece tiles or even the 10-piece tiles, then
They're done.
They're done. But you might be asking, well, why would you want to do that? These are points.
Yeah.
And so you want to try to time your collecting of these landmarks in such a way that you get at least 5 so that you can gain one of these. And then you want to try to get 5 more to turn it into a 10 at some point in the game. And there's also a tile over here that you're racing for where if you can get a 5er in all of these different ones, there's 6 different ones, then you can gain this tile right here, which gives you 5 more points at the end of the game.
Or 3 if you're second.
Or 3 if you're second. And then if you are the first to get a 10-piece in 3 of the 6 different landmarks, then you'll get 5 points. If you're second, you'll get 3. So this is, like Jeremy said, this is a bit of a race game. And it's a bit of a tricky kind of strategic thinking with this one because you're not only just looking at the best path that will give you the most. These are essentially resources because you're using them to pay things, but you're also completing sets with them. But you're also wanting to do it in a manner that gives you 5. Whether that be I already had 3 left over and I just need 2 more, or I have none and I want to try to get a whole set of 5. So you're really kind of looking at that as the game continues. The board's going to expand. There's going to be more options for you to place tiles. There's going to be more things that you got to watch out with your opponents where they are going to be playing because you want to try to stop them from being able to complete different sets quicker than you are because those are points you're competing after. So there's a lot going on in this game, and it's a fairly simple mechanic. Tile laying mechanic is all it is. Yeah. You do have the action selection, and even with the action selection, what I really like about that is you're having to pay the resources that you need to complete sets in order to do that. So that's a really unique idea of sacrificing my growth on one set to be able to do an action selection, which might help me to complete another set, to be able to do a lot of stuff out here on the board. That's pretty cool how that all flows together and balancing those choices as you play the game.
More important, it was just for me to get as many 3s so Lance couldn't.
Yep.
And I got all but 1.
Yeah.
Or 2.
Yeah, and this game is really tight. It's a really tight experience. I think our scores, you get blocked off quite a bit. Our score separation here was
4 point.
I think it's 3, 4, somewhere in that ballpark. So it's a very tight game, and you're scoring in typically we scored in the 50s, somewhere in that ballpark. So it's not like
I mean, in the rule book it's 58.
Okay,
so
there you go.
It's going to be generally around there.
Yeah,
but they had 10. I didn't have any 10s.
So, Jeremy, I really enjoyed this game. I told you after I immediately got done playing that this is a game that would have staying power on my shelf for a number of reasons. One, I absolutely love tile laying games. It's one of my favorite mechanics. It's a genre of gaming that I enjoy because it's got a visual aspect to it. It expands, it grows, and I like the choices that come with that of having to really kind of weigh out where's the best place to play on my turn. But I also really enjoy this spatial element to this game. So much more, so much so that I enjoy it more than Carcassonne, which is the classic tile laying game of route building and whatnot. This for me is a better experience because of everything else that we've mentioned. Trying to get those resources to complete the sets is more interesting to me. It also looks better in my opinion. I like the feel, I like the theme of this game.
I think with Carcassonne, it can be a little confusing at times when you're placing tiles. This is pretty straightforward. You're connecting a path, and then you just have to follow the path to the shortest path to the closest resource. And you have to pick one. So if you have two resources there in the middle, like on this tile, you're going to have to decide which one am I connecting. And it's, other than following through and making sure it's the shortest path, it's pretty straightforward. And you'll be sitting, oh, I'm going to play both these tiles using the geisha. Well, if I do that, they're both llamas, so I'm only going to get one. And so then you may put one over here just so you can get this ability or get this character use. You can flip over, get more points, maybe get a bonus tile, and then put that there to maximize your tokens. I told you out the gate, and many of you, I posted up whenever I posted that we got this, that I feel like I thought it was going to be a lot like Tang Garden, because it came out, and I found out it actually came out on Kickstarter the same year as Tang Garden. It has Japanese Garden versus the Tang Garden, but I knew it was a little bit different because Tang Garden, you're building it's got a little bit more table presence, so you're putting these 3D pieces on the board, whereas this one's pretty much just tiles, taking tokens. I actually thought from the video we'd be putting from just the look of it, that I'd be putting these on the board somewhere, but that's not it. You're collecting those resources or landmarks. And then in Tang Garden, it's not about collecting a path, it's more of collecting terrain types. And so I think they're two very different games, even though they both have to deal with a garden aspect and building
similar themes and similar looks to them. Not the table presence wise, but just kind of what you're doing out here.
I will say, Pencil First Games did send this to us, and they did send these mini expansions too, which I don't know if they come with every game that you order from them. But I was talking to Lance about it. They seem pretty interesting, and they could change it quite a bit. So in the Koi mini expansion, you're going to get one of each of these cards. And so one's going to let you get recruit help from anybody for one resource or
so
coin.
Discounted cost.
The second one will let you choose two. So instead of using one, you still have to pay the cost, but you could do two at once, so you might save it for the next round. This one would give you any 3 small landmarks, and then the last one lets you upgrade for one less. So every player is going to have one of each of those cards, and if you don't spend them during the game, you're going to gain 1 additional point for each, so essentially 4 extra points if you don't use them. The Toku mini expansion is a little bit different. Like we said, all these bonus tiles and character tiles are spread out, and so there's going to be these cards on them, and you'll place these, I think it's 16 cards. So when you put these 16 cards, they're all face down randomly, and then whenever you take that bonus tile or that character tile, you're going to gain a card. This one would be, and it tells you here on a index or description here, it says on card 12, which is this one, you can make an enclosure with only 1 landmark. So to get the bonus of this, remember you have to have 2 landmarks there. But if you look right here, this one only has 1. So if I had this card and I complete that, well, I could play that, and then it would let me flip that over.
Yeah.
So there's several different cards. There's things from allowing you to use a red gate as a blue gate, use a blue gate as a red gate, recruit the geisha for 2 instead of 3, the gardener for 2 instead of 3. This one lets you do the vendor or the samurai for free. These give you one of the resources. This allows you, number 11 is to gain a small token when you make an enclosure. So just another bonus that you can get and switch it up.
Thrown in there with that.
And again, if you get these and you don't spend them, that's 1 point. So if you got 5 of these, 6 of these, 7 of these, because you're doing these different bonuses like I was, it's another 7 points if you didn't use them. But if you did use them, like when you needed that llama at the end, well, guess what?
Yeah.
that would have given you the one more llama. Which
we should have played with that
helped you.
module.
So yeah, so just and I don't know if they come with every game, but they send them to us with this copy to review. So appreciative of that. I think that'll definitely change it up and make it even more interesting trying it with those, because you have a little more leeway. I like it tight like this, but if you have someone that's having a hard time or felt like they needed maybe a little help here and there, those cards would,
bit of
they give you a little bit more ways to alter things a little bit for you.
So all in all, for me, folks, this is a fantastic tile laying game. I would say that it's light in terms of mechanics and rule set, but in terms of strategy, it's a thinkier game by far. It's probably one of the thinkiest pencil first games that is out there, and I love that. I love that it gives me that Carcassonne tile laying feel, but it's more
different thing.
It's a different theme. It's a different way of thinking about it. It's a much more enjoyable experience, in my opinion. 2 thumbs up, big time on this one. Really like it. So,
are you gonna put a score on it?
Sure, let's do it. Yeah, let's put a score out.
I mean, you rated it. You said it's better than Carcassonne. I think that's score worthy.
Yes,
for you.
Yeah, you're right on that. I'm gonna give this game an 8.1. I really like this game. You know, like I said at the beginning of this video, it has staying power. It would stay on my shelf. It would be a game that would hit the table quite often. Is it a love to hate kind of game? And if you're not familiar with that, that just simply means, is it a game that I would play with casual or non-gamers, such as Sam, my wife, on our love to hate side of the channel? Possibly. It would probably be a game that I'd have to maybe get through a few games of before I feel like it would be one that would consistently come to the table. So I would try it. I don't know. It's got some deeper strategy thinking to it.
I think adding the Koi expansion would be a good one for that.
Yeah, it would make it looser.
Either one of these, but I think the Koi having the ability to make things a little cheaper, maybe, or you know, everybody has the same 4 cards, so you don't have to worry about getting a different one.
And that'll produce a higher scoring game. So yeah, that's a good thing there for it. So what about you? What score would you give it?
I mean, tiling is not my favorite game. Worker placement and a little bit heavier are mine. So I did enjoy it. I do think it's a good game. I think that a lot in a small box. I like that this box is small, very small. It's easy for me, like I was telling Lance, to just put it on the front of a shelf in front of stuff and just kind of hide it in the cabinet. So I like that. I like the artwork, Vincent Dutrait.
It's a beautiful look.
I'm glad that he did this, because I just sometimes his artwork's a little bit more than the gameplay for me in some of the games. So not to say that they're bad, but I do think that this one's a lot of game for what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Carcassonne fan either, so I would agree that I like this better than Carcassonne, but the theming is more enticing to me as well.
Sure.
It seems like Japanese themed games are continuing to grow and grow more on my shelves, and so after what I said, I'd probably say it's probably around a 7. But again, tiling games aren't where I'm connecting the route to get most points. Is not my favorite games, as you know. So I'm going to stick with the 7, and I think that's still a solid score, because I've told Lance a rating for a game we'll never play again. So produced very well, but I'll never play that game again.
Well, there you guys have it. That's our thoughts on 100 Tori. And it's from Pencil First Games. High marks for it from us on it, and one that I recommend highly for you guys out there. So go check it out. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up down below. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell to be notified of all of our new content. And do leave a comment. Let us know what you think about this game down below, please. I'm Lance.
And I'm Jeremy.
And we are Hard to Master, where we take a look at games that are hard to master. We'll see you next time.
See ya.